Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a little tutorial on how to flash a 9070 to a 9070 XT BIOS. Now, I did this on my girlfriend's PC. I have the XTX, obviously. I've made many videos about it, and she has the 9070. A very powerful little GPU. Great performance. Really, it surprised me. I thought that there would be more of a gap between the 9070 and the XT, but really the 9070 is pretty close, especially overclocked to the XT. So close, in fact, that when you flash a 9070 XT BIOS to a 9070, as you can see right here, this is a screenshot from her computer of Time Spy Extreme. I ran this once, so with further tuning, this score could have improved. And not to mention, her CPU is not overclocked. She actually has I think it's a B840E chipset, which isn't capable of overclocking. So this CPU score, if her CPU was all core overclocked, this would have beat the world record for sure. If this CPU score was above 7,000, this score probably would have been more in the 12,700, 12,800 range, and she would have blown this score out of the water, whoever got this. And as you can see, with the XT BIOS, her GPU is falling in line to not quite the top 100 of the 9070 XTs, but her card is definitely faster than a base model XT, non-overclocked anything. 100%. Not even it's faster than in some overclocked models. If you have a very light overclock on your 9070 XT, hers is probably faster. If you have a heavy overclock on your XT, obviously the XT is definitely going to be faster, but stock versus her overclock 9070, 100%, no doubt, more than likely going to be faster. Now, not by much, don't get me wrong, the XT is a faster GPU base to base, just by default, but like a raised power limit from VBIOS and raised clock limit, undervolted, memory overclock, all of that, you can make a 9070 just as fast, if not possibly faster than a base XT non-overclocked, which is very cool in my opinion. Literally free performance. Like if you paid $550 for a 9070 or 500, and you're able to get XT performance, and it's not like she has a really good model. She has the XFX. What is this? It's all I know is I think it's XFX. It's a great 9070. Looks great. It's one of the higher end models. White. So she has great cooling and all of that. But even I bought a 9070 XT. Not the Red Devil. It was the Reaper, and that was a very impressive little GPU. Hotspot was great. But she has one of the nicer models, so regardless, this should work for every 9070. But let's get into it. Now first, is it worth it? This is something that is subjective, obviously. Performance, definitely worth it, 100% worth it. Now warranty, it kind of gets into the point where like you'd have to save your old BIOS, which is very easy to do. Right, you would have to save your old BIOS, and reflash your GPU before sending it in for an RMA. If something were to go wrong, it were to break or something, would they ever know that you flashed your card? I don't see how they would. So really, like if you're safe with it, you will be totally fine. You would still have a card that can be warranted, but you just have to make sure that you keep that original VBIOS that shipped with your card. Now, if you decide to do this, is all at your own risk. All of this is at your own risk. If you have a single BIOS card, I do not recommend doing this. If you have a dual BIOS card, I do not see a reason why you wouldn't at least give it a shot. Because with dual BIOS, you can always recover that second BIOS. So yeah, with my girlfriend's card, this was one of the most straightforward, easy things. I was expecting it to be much more difficult than what it was. Or at least not straightforward. And I thought it was going to be this thing where I had to, it wasn't going to work the first time, and I had to figure out ways to troubleshoot what went wrong. And no, it was very easy, very straightforward. All right, so First off, we're going to go to Tech Power Up. Tech Power Up right here. And whatever your GPU model is, you're going to go to databases. You're going to go to VGA BIOS collection. Yeah, you're going to go put in AMD card vendor, whatever your card vendor is, and then card model. Obviously, this is for the 9070. So you'd put in 9070, click on that, and, you know, choose whichever, or sorry, actually, we'd put in 9070 XT because we're flashing to a 9070 XT. So we would click 9070 XT, right? And then whatever model coincides with the model that you bought. If you bought a Red Devil, use a 9070 XT Red Devil BIOS. That's what I did with hers. So download that BIOS. Click on this. Click download now. I'll just show you the steps. You'll get a Power Color RX 9070 XT BIOS. Now you want to come to this website right here. I'll have it linked in the description below. Remember, this is at your own risk. Just one more warning. And we're going to kind of walk through this real quick. But once I explain it, I think it'll be a lot more simple than what you guys might expect. So you want to download this right here. Right down here, you'll see 4 links. The one that I downloaded for her card was this one to the far right, AMD VB Flash 879 modded version 2.1. So you want to click on that. Okay, it'll download that. And you also want to download these flash drivers right down here. Click on that. All right. Now, when you get these flash drivers, you'll have to have WinRAR or something. You're going to want to extract the flash drivers. Okay. It'll extract to a folder called flash drivers. Open that. You're going to want to double click on that. Click yes. And then all you're going to have to do is click I to install the AMD VB flash drivers. I'm not going to do that because I have no reason to. But after this, you do want to make sure you come back and uninstall these drivers because they're not game drivers or anything. Like, they're not optimized. So yeah, you're going to want to come back, and it's a very quick like, they install very fast. It's not like you're actually installing Adrenaline software or anything. All right. So, and then you want to, when you download the AMD VB flash folders, go to downloads. You want to click on, obviously, the folder location. You're going to want to extract these. All right. And you're going to have a folder right down here called AMD VB Flash 879. All right. Click on that. And whichever BIOS you downloaded that coincides with your 9070, you're going to want to go ahead and, well, we're going to have to bring this down. All right. Go back to downloads. You're going to want to drag that into that same folder where you have AMD VB Flash in there. All right. So let's go ahead and come back to this website right here. Wrong one. All right. So we've already installed the special drivers for flashing. Those are the flashing drivers. You're going to want to restart in safe mode. I actually didn't flash her her BIOS in safe mode because I could not get the computer to boot into safe mode. It just was not working out. So you should be okay. You don't necessarily have to. If you can manage to get your computer into safe mode, that is obviously optimal. It just basically won't run any background processes. It's, very minimal. Nothing extra starts up. But if you decide to do this without safe mode, you should be okay. But once again, this is at your own risk. So, but if you can boot into safe mode, definitely that's going to be preferred. So restart into safe mode. Okay. Open command prompt as admin. So what you're going to want to do is type in cmd, and then you're going to want to right click run as administrator, click yes. All right. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the file path in your directory. So you're going to type in cd space, and then go back to the folder where you have AMD VB Flash downloaded. So this folder right here with the AMD VB Flash in your BIOS file, the .rom file, you're going to want to click up here. All right, you're going to want to copy. So right click, copy, and you're going to want to paste. All right, so you have cd space, and then the directory location. All right. Now you're going to want to click enter. Okay. And now we are entered into that folder. So the next step right here. Okay. Check GPU first with AMD VB Flash -I. Okay. So what you're actually you don't want to type in AMD VB Flash.I. You want to go back to this folder. You're going to want to right click on AMD VB Flash 879, click show more, rename, copy this, control C, okay, go back into CMD, and then control V, okay, because that's the actual name of AMD VB Flash, and you're going to want to space, and then -I, enter, all right, and you're going to see detecting AMD GPU/APU. This first one is going to be, 0 is going to be your actual dedicated GPU, your 9070. So it's going to be 0. The 1 is if you have an integrated GPU with your CPU. All right, next step. So yep, the number of your GPU is going to be 0. So always do a backup of original VBIOS. Use command AMD VB Flash /s hashtag backup name.rom. So I believe if you just go ahead, control V, that same thing, -s, enter. All right. Okay, well for me, it failed to save my VBIOS. I'm on an XTX. For some reason, my XTX is really, it doesn't like being flashed or anything. I tried. So XTXs, your mileage may vary, but on my girlfriend's 9070, worked smooth as butter. Smooth as butter. But for me, it's just not, whatever. My XTX is temperamental, I suppose. Anyways, so make sure that you save that. You can also, to do the same thing, you can go to GPU-Z. All right. Open up GPU-Z. If you don't know where GPU-Z is, you go to the Tech Power Up website. I don't know if I have it opened right here. But anyways, go to the Tech Power Up website. Here, we'll just go in there right now. I'll show you how to do it. And then go to our software, GPU-Z. Okay. And then click download GPU-Z, and you'll be able to download it. So let's open up GPU-Z, BIOS version. Click right here, save BIOS, save to file. All right, let it load for a second here. If it'll work. Yeah, I told y'all my XTX is a little temperamental for some reason. All right, let's try that one more time. GPU-Z. If this doesn't work, it should work for you. For some reason, my computer's deciding to not cooperate. But yeah, you should be able to click that. Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. But yeah, click that, save it to file, save it to your desktop or whatever, and your BIOS should be saved. I might have to like restart my computer or something. I don't know. Something funky's going on with that. All right. So after you've backed up your ROM, your default ROM, which is if you had to RMA your product, you'd want to re-flash that back onto the same BIOS, that you flashed onto your card, So anyways, next step, flash VBIOS using command. So you're going to want to come back to CMD, control V, that same AMD VB Flash 879, okay, and then space -P, and then this is going to be the number of your GPU, next, would be 0, and then you're going to want to go over here, all right, you're going to want to copy this name, all right, control V. So that is the name of your new BIOS file. Let's just make this a little longer. Make it a little easier to read. And then space /fp space -fv space -fa. And then -debug -log -status equals true. Okay. Then I'm not going to hit enter because I don't have an XT or a 9070. I'm on an XTX, so I'm not going to hit enter. Okay. But you're going to hit enter. Okay. If you want to, this is, at your own risk. Once again, this is kind of the point of no return. You hit enter and hope that everything goes well. As long as everything goes well, which it should. As long as you picked a 9070 XT that coincides to your model, should be fine. Once that's done, okay, after flashing, power down the PC. That means flip your power supply. Flip the switch on your power supply. Let the PC turn completely off. Okay, let it sit there for maybe 5-10 seconds. Flip the power back on and turn on your PC. You should be able to go to GPU-Z. Okay. And once this opens up, you should be able to click on lookup. And it should come up with the 9070 XT variant that you just flashed onto your card. If it does not, then repeat these steps we just went over again. As you can see in the article, they go into the fact that it's somewhere around here. Flash multiple times. After a successful flash, I recommend to flash the card only with part number 4 switch. So this person that made this guide actually recommends that you do flash the card 2 or 3 times to ensure that the BIOS is properly imported onto the chip. So I recommend doing it. I did it 3 times for my girlfriend's GPU just to be sure. I'm pretty sure it worked perfectly fine the first time. I don't feel like I had to, but I do recommend doing it at least twice. And then the way that you would check to see if it worked is you would use a program like RivaTuner Statistics Server to measure power draw. And you'd open up a game, could be Call of Duty or GTA 5 or really any game, and see what your power... I knew immediately that it worked because I went into Fortnite and the 9070 was pulling... The moment I saw it hit 300 watts, I was like, okay, well, that was definitely a successful BIOS flash. So yeah, that is how you do that. What you'll notice, obviously, is that power draw will increase. You may be able to overclock memory a little further. You may be able to undervolt further with stability. Your card should boost higher. And yeah, as long as everything went to plan, your card should behave pretty much similarly to a base model 9070 XT if you overclock it. Now, if you take the 9070 with the up power limit, it will still be faster. It'll probably perform on par with a pretty well overclocked 9070 if you just don't even overclock it. If you overclock it, it'll perform like a 9070 XT. So yeah, I definitely do think it's worth it. Now, if you're like I said, if your card only has one BIOS, if there's no BIOS switch, I do not recommend doing this because if it fails, you're gonna have a dead card. Now, if you have a CPU with an integrated GPU, you should, even if you for whatever reason, even if something went wrong, what I recommend you do is you plug your HDMI cable into your motherboard so that your iGPU can display a screen. You should still be able to see that your card is being recognized by the computer. It just because the flash went wrong, it's not outputting video anymore. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the original VBIOS that we saved with GPU-Z, or or with AMD VB Flash, whichever method you use to save your original 9070 BIOS. You're going to want to take that BIOS and do these exact same steps that we just did, but instead of flashing an XT BIOS, flash your old 9070 BIOS back onto your card and hope that all of that goes well and that your card works again. So yeah, there is always a point of return. Even if it failed and you did have a single BIOS card, you should be able to recover it as long as you saved your original VBIOS. And if all else fails, you can buy a CH264 programmer. Now that gets a little convoluted. I'm not gonna lie. That's a little more difficult than what we explained here. Maybe one day I'll decide because my XTX does not like to be flashed. It does not like to be tampered with. So I feel like the only way that I would really ever be able to get a BIOS that was not shipped with this card onto this card is with the CH, with the CH programmer. But yeah, that's pretty much how you flash your 9070 with an XT BIOS. Very simple. Works perfectly fine. Had zero problems with my girlfriend's card. So yeah, I hope that you guys have the same kind of luck that I did. Her card in benchmarks pulls 330 watts. I never saw hotspot go above 85 degrees C. So yeah, really a great little card. Of course it's not faster than my XTX though, of course. No, but yeah. I if you're into overclocking, it's definitely something you can do. It's definitely an option. But I will say one more time, this is at your own risk. If you have a dual BIOS card, you're not really putting yourself at risk unless you decide to flash both BIOSes, which I don't recommend. And if you have a single BIOS card, like I said, if you decide to do this, there is a point of return if for whatever reason it didn't work, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. So, do I recommend it? If you're not technologically inclined, I don't recommend it. But if you want to be ballsy, who am I to tell you not to do that? So, yeah, hopefully you guys found this video informative. It's definitely one of those things where it's like you can definitely get some more performance out of your card, for sure. So, especially if you have like a high refresh rate 1440p display, you can you can push the card to its limits. Cause yeah, you're able to pull like 70 or 80 more watts. So for me, it'd be a no-brainer, but for some people, they just don't want to take that risk, which is perfectly, definitely understandable. 100% understandable. Because the 9070 alone already performs great. It already is a really good little card. Like, it's not, just because it doesn't have some power limit up to 330 watts or whatever, it still performs great, regardless. And it's really not that, even stock, it's not that much slower than a 9070 XT out of the box anyways. So, hope you guys found this video informative. Hopefully, I came across relatively, hopefully this came across relatively simple. Hopefully the steps were pretty easy to follow. Also, do not forget to uninstall the flash drivers once you're done. And after that, what I would do after that is I would DDU, clean all the drivers off of your device, reinstall your AMD drivers, and boom, you got the 9070 XT BIOS on your 9070. Yeah. I don't know why somebody hasn't already made this video, but I guess I'll be the first. So, yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.